What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the spot where we kick back and react to all kind of different things. Alright, so what we got going on today? We're about to get into another animal video. We're here with Lindsay again. Zoologist answers our next WTF is that? Worm edition. Alright, so last one was fun, watching how she broke everything down. A lot of great information. Enjoy this channel, so let's go ahead and check this one out. See what we got for this today. Let's go.
Why are we doing a video about worms? Worms are just worms. Well, the internet is filled with videos of people finding strange specimens and asking, what the fuck is this? And a good chunk of the time it's some kind of worm. There are surprisingly a lot of worms. I'm gonna show you some of the more shocking of these mystery creatures that have gained lots of attention recently. So get ready to turn into a niche worm expert. Before we get into it, let's just get a general understanding of how many worms there are. Worms are everywhere. They are some of the smallest and the largest animals on the planet. They live in every habitat imaginable, from deep-sea hydrothermal vents to the insides of animals as parasites, including us. And worms have evolved
including us. I'm glad I never had that happen to me. I feel sorry for anybody who has, but just the thought of it, it's just like, ugh.
Separately multiple times, meaning not all worms are the same kind of worm at all. Let me put that into perspective using a cladogram, which is a general understanding of how big groups of animal called phyla are related to each other. Well, at least this one is in this case. As technology advances, some revisions are being made to this, so just keep that in mind. But for example, based on these little branches, these two groups are more closely related to each other than these two groups are. Every single animal with a backbone, including you, fish, birds, reptiles, mammals, other mammals, are in this group, Chordata. All vertebrates are here, plus a couple of other invertebrates, like sea squirts. The rest of these groups are invertebrates, animals that don't have a backbone. There are a lot of invertebrates, and at least 8 of the groups on this list are worms. That's a lot of different kinds of worms. One might say too many. There have been about 60,000 species of vertebrates.
I would say too many, yes. Too many worms. Why do we have so many? Makes no sense.
Identified and 67,000 species of worms identified, just so you know. All right, now we're ready to jump into our first worm.
What is that? Why does it look like it got like a million legs? Like, hold up.
Worm. That's a polychaete, also known as a bristleworm. It's a type of segmented worm that is named for the bristles going all the way down its body. There are thousands of species, and a lot of them look really similar, so I have no idea what species this is. So let me just show you some of the cooler ones. The largest bristleworms are the bobbit worms, named after Lorena Bobbitt, who in 1993 cut off her husband's thing with a kitchen knife after he abused her for years. The bobbit worm is named such.
Wait, why? How'd you get that? How'd you get named after? Oh, man.
Because of their razor-sharp mouth parts that are capable of slicing a fish clean in half. Here's their hunting strategy. They bury most of their body, which can get to...
Really? It got named after Lorena Bobbitt because it takes the head off its enemies. Oh, man. Oh. Some people are just too creative.
In half. Here's their hunting strategy. They bury most of their body, which can get to 10 feet long, in the sediment, in this long tunnel, leaving really only their mouth parts exposed at the surface. They have antennae that, when brushed against, tell the bobbit worm to snap and snatch their prey right out of the water. Not all bristleworms are that intense. In fact, some of them kind of just hang out. There are even ones called the Christmas tree worms that look more like plants than animals. They just hang out. Some also hang out in the most extreme environments on the planet, like the Pompeii worm, that lives right at the edge of deep-sea hydrothermal vents, which can get to like over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. They have this coat of bacteria all over them that help protect them from the heat, and they hang out as well. As humans, we're tempted to believe that our way of reproducing and then going from a mini-human to a large human is the natural norm of the world, of the animal kingdom. But it is absolutely not. And bristleworms alone have several different examples to show you that that's not the case. Different life cycles, life histories. So here's 2 of them. Epitoki. This one is crazy, dude. They clone themselves through asexual reproduction. They'll have little clones just budding off their tail end. And then once they're ready to go, they just pop off and start doing their thing. But the most mind-blowing bristleworm life cycle in my
literally just cloning yourself. Oh man, you're not gonna turn that species extinct. There's no mating that interrupt, none of that. Nope.
is the green spoon worm, which looks very much not like a bristleworm, but it technically is. When they're born, they're not male or female yet. They're just tiny little sexless specks floating through the ocean, and where they land determines what they will be. If they land on a clear patch of sediment, they become a female. They'll grow to maybe 10 centimeters long and also grow a proboscis, a little stringy looking thing. And the proboscis will start pumping out pheromones. Just pump it, to lure in the other larval specks that have not found their fate yet. They get pulled into the female. And if they land on her, their fate becomes stamped as a male. The males are teeny. They don't really grow at all. The female will eat him, and then he will live inside her uterus for the rest of his life. Free food and shelter for a life purpose of providing the female sperm whenever she wants it. Goddamn feminist agenda! Koya, can you please not play with your toys right
now? Oh, man. Oh. The feminist agenda. But on the flip side, I know there's some people I met in real life, some dudes I met in real life who, if given the option, they would sign up for that lifestyle. I get to live in it? Yo, sign me up. I ain't got to do nothing. Just eat and provide sperm. I'm good. Let's go.
Now, I'm sorry. I'm filming. You can play with your toys in the living room. Say hi. Say, just real quick. Just say hi. A quick hello, please. All right, let's roll the next one.
I've seen this video so many times.
Pretty gnarly. That is a ribbon worm, also known as a proboscis worm. As you might guess, the thing that just shot out of it is the proboscis. The word comes up in a few different ways throughout the animal kingdom, so let's just lay them all out. A proboscis in vertebrates, animals with a backbone, is any elongated nose or snout, like the proboscis monkey or an elephant or tapir. A proboscis in invertebrates, animals without a backbone, is a tubular mouth part for sucking or feeding, like on a butterfly or a mosquito. In either case, it's an elongated appendage coming out of the animal's face. And in the ribbon worm's case, the proboscis is used to defend itself and also to attack and feast. Some have spiky barbs on their proboscis to stab. Some have branched appendages filled with toxins to toxify or intoxicate or poison. And some have sticky suckers to hold onto their prey. But unfortunately, in any video that you've seen circulating, the ribbon worm is definitely using it to defend itself because it feels like it's under attack. They contract their body and then spit out their proboscis. Like, get the fuck away from me! So because of this, because they contract their body so easily, we don't know exactly how big they can get. Their muscles that they use to expand and contract their body are insane. Fucking jacked up. And they allow them to shrink to 1/10 of their original size. And you best believe humans make them feel uncomfortable as fuck. So how can we possibly know how big they can get? They're like elastic linguini. Scientists do think they might be the longest animals on the planet. Keyword think, because they are too stretchy to actually measure. The largest species, the bootlace worm, has been measured at almost 100 feet long. But it's thought that they could potentially get to almost 200 feet long. The only other animals that come close to that are a siphonophore that was found at 150 feet long, and of course the blue whale that can get to 110 feet long and is the heaviest animal on the planet. A worm the length of 2 blue whales is an unpleasant thought for me, to be honest. They also have some regenerative capabilities, meaning they can regrow parts of their body if necessary, but the regenerative abilities of this next worm shocked a lot of people this year.
Is that his head? Wait. What the fuck is this?
That's a hammerhead worm. Hammerhead worms are invasive, toxic, cannibalistic, and potentially immortal. Before we jump into that statement, I want to talk a little bit about the larger group that hammerhead worms belong to. The planarians, a type of flatworm. These might look familiar to you. There's a chance you learned about them in any biology class you might have taken. Planarians as a group are really interesting because of those regenerative abilities, and they just get sliced and diced all the time for a 9th grade biology class. Planarians typically live in freshwater habitats and are typically really small, up to about 1/2 inch long. The hammerhead worm is an exception to both of those things. The hammerhead worm lives on land and can get to over 1 foot long. They're originally from Southeast Asia but now have a worldwide distribution. They've been in the United States since the 1900s, and they are considered an invasive species. An invasive species,
and obviously, I wonder how that happened.
This is any organism that gets introduced to an area it's not native to and ends up harming that environment in some way. So not all non-native species are invasive. It's ones that are able to adapt quickly to an environment and reproduce a lot. So their population just blows up and they end up altering that environment in a negative way. And in many different parts of the world, the hammerhead worm is considered invasive because it preys on earthworms and snails and slugs that are beneficial to those ecosystems. They also don't have any natural predators, which makes their invasion even easier. Hammerhead worms secrete this toxic slime that keeps potential predators from eating them, and also helps to take down their prey. And then they liquefy them, and then they drink them up like a smoothie. A sad fate for earthworms everywhere. Also, sidebar, you know that thick ring around an earthworm? That's their reproductive structure. Do you know what it's called? The clitellum. That bugs me. Whoever named it that deserves jail time. Lindsay, that's not a very professional...
I understand your play. I understand why that upset you still. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Take that back. Oh.
Reproductive structure. Do you know what it's called? The clitellum. That bugs me. Whoever named it that deserves jail time. Lindsay, that's not a very professional and scientific thing to say about a scientific... I don't care. I don't like it. To add to the unquestionable...
Seriously, it's a name, which means somebody had to choose it, which means somebody saw it and consciously decided, I'm going to name it this. It was probably like giving the evil laugh while doing it.
Power of hammerhead worms. They will also eat each other in the absence of other prey, or even parts of themselves. They will eat parts of themselves because they do not care. They will just regrow it. Who gives a fuck? Because like I had mentioned, all planarians have that amazing regenerative ability. They have stem cells all over their body that allow them to regrow anything the worm needs. So you can't really just smush it or cut it because you might end up with more worms than you started with. If you cut one hammerhead worm into 10 pieces, you will have 10 hammerhead worms. Some people have suggested, well, what about fire? I mean, yeah, fire would kill it, but definitely not the best option in this scenario, since an uncontrolled burn would do a lot more damage than a hammerhead worm and would land you some pretty big payments to the government. So the best option is salt and vinegar or citrus oil. And just make sure it dissolves all the way. Also, don't touch it with your bare hands because of that toxic stuff. Might give you a little irritation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe and let me know so I can decide if I should turn this into a what the fuck is this series. You can keep up with my daily short form content on TikTok and Instagram. And for now, stay curious. The world has a lot for us to learn. See ya!
All right. Another great one. A lot of great information on there. And funny too. Oh man. All right, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought about this one. And let me know what you'd like to see me react to next. Hit that like button before you go. Share this video with everyone you know. And subscribe if you haven't done so already, all right? So, till next time, take care of yourselves. And I'm out of here.